So as far as post construction, what I've found is it really depends on the area that you're in, right? So more northern states and more western states have more phases within their cleaning. Like here where I'm at, usually if somebody calls and says they want a construction cleanup, it's usually just final clean and that's it. Right. So that would come in, that would be doing not doing phase one. So in most cases, phase one is just pulling out the big trash, getting all that out of the way, getting it to a point where you can actually clean. Then you come back in what people refer to as sometimes phase two, sometimes final. There's another thing that they call it too. Um, that's where you're coming in. You're doing the majority of the clean. You're getting stuff presentable. You're getting stuff ready. Ready to go. And then you've got the third phase that some people refer to as puff cleaning. Some people refer to it as presentation cleaning. And some people refer to it as punch list. And that is doing all the last touch-ups to for the final turnover to the actual owner. So you're wanting to talk about all three of these phases. Is that what you're looking at wanting to talk about?
Well, right now we have a 2,000 square feet retail location that wants a rough and a final, just two, not three. So I primarily, how do we, like, let's say we know how to price just one final clean. How do we price the rough clean?
So that kind of depends on a handful of stuff, right? So you're probably between 6 and 10 cents a square foot is probably where you'd be at for the rough cleaning. So what I try and do is figure out what all they want done during that rough cleaning, and then after what they want done during it, then you have to go, okay, how long is this going to take me, and kind of get a rough idea. The thing with rough cleaning is there's no good production rate because it varies so much. So realistically, you're probably gonna fall back onto a cents per square foot, and you're probably gonna be somewhere between 6 and 10, maybe 12 cents. But that's going to really depend on the building size. So if you're at 2,000 square feet, it's probably not a big deal to say, "Hey, I'm at 10 cents. That's only $200."
Yeah, but I would go for like $200 is not even profitable for me in New York City.
Right. So you have to say, okay, what's going to be profitable? Because you've got to say you're going out once to do that, then you're going out once for a final clean. You're not doing any punch list at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, no.
Okay. So
What the punch list is a checklist?
yeah, I always take the size of the job and add, depending on the size, a specific number of hours for a punch list in the event. It's like, hey, they're walking through and they're like, oh, that spot on the wall needs to be sanded, and they sand it and they cause some dust here and there and somewhere else. So you give them an hour to come in and do a punch list of, hey, somebody drilled a hole there, somebody sanded there, somebody did this. And obviously after you've cleaned, but it's not done, right? It's not in a present status for them. So it's not done. So in that particular realm, I personally always build in a specific number of hours based off of the square footage. So, I mean, you're talking 2,000 square feet. The most I would probably do on a build in like that is maybe an hour.
So for retail luxury stores, PCC, we charge 1,200 for 2,000 square foot, and then we take 4 people, and we usually take like about 5 to 6 hours to complete. So I guess my question is, how much do I charge for the rough clean, and then how much do I charge if we need to get on the lift to do high dusting and stuff like that, like more polishing on the ceilings and vents, chandeliers, and all that other stuff.
So you've got four. You said 4 to 5 people.
No, 4 people, 5 hours.
4 people, 5 hours. So we got 20 hours invested in that. So your first step, I would say, is like, all right, what's this look like? You're saying $1,200 divided by 20 hours is $60 an hour. So you need to say, okay, I'm at $60 per man hour here for this type of cleaning. So then your next step is like, okay, is the getting on a lift and stuff, is this going to be extra as far as beyond the additional scope of work, or is this going to be within the scope of work?
Well, they want it within.
Okay.
They want the quote.
So then you quote the cost for the lift. So depending on the size, you may only need the lift for 1 day. So you need the cost for your lift.
They will provide it.
They're providing the lift. Okay, good. All right. So then you say your cleaning rate. So at what you're talking about, the $1,200 for 2,000 square feet, 20 hours, you're at 100 square foot an hour production rate, right? So your production rate, once you go up on a lift, is going to reduce. Most likely, depending on the height you are, your production rate is going to cut in half. So say you're at 100 square feet production rate. Now you're going to go up to the ceiling and do stuff on the ceiling. Your production rate's going to cut in half. You're at 50 square foot or less. Now, that being said, you're not doing as much on the ceiling, so you could probably pad that a little bit, but you wouldn't want to pad it too much, especially if it's some luxury where you're going to be spending a lot of time doing a lot of very intricate detail. So in this case, is the store is 2,000 square feet?
Yes.
All right, 2,000 square foot. You're going to have to be on a lift for the entire ceiling to do. What are you guys doing with the ceiling? A polishing of some sort?
Not entirely sure if that would be part of the final clean, but yeah, we may need to remove some attached debris or whatnot.
All right, removing debris. Is
Part of the rough clean.
I got you. Now, you guys said something about a polish or something too, right? So is it like a stainless steel or a copper or something like that you're trying to polish?
Did they mention well, the material under ceiling, Fernando?
I think you're muted there, Fernando. So Ryan, we're trying to figure out the cost for the ceiling and the cost for the rough cleaning. That's correct, right?
Yeah, rough clean and the final clean.
Rough clean and final clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting the details here on the.
Gotcha. So the final clean what you guys typically do, Fernando was saying 2,000 square foot because it's a luxury retail store. You're usually around $1,200 for that 2,000 square foot.
That's right.
So that's putting you guys at like what, 60 cents a square foot? Is that right?
Roughly 60 cents. Yeah.
So 60 cents. I mean, I would say with that same concept of doing it, you would be for your rough clean, because if your rough clean is roughly 30%, a little less than 30% of your other one, for you can be somewhere in that ballpark. You would be at somewhere around 15 cents for your rough clean. So 2,000 times, 2,000 times 15 cents would put you around $300. So, I mean, I guess where you guys are at and the amount of crew that you got going, that's probably not a worthwhile attempt even at that, is it?
I'd have to agree.
I got you. So, I mean, in that case, you may have to look at the job as a whole to say, okay, yeah, I may not come in good on the first step of phase one with rough clean. You may have to buffer it into other steps. Because I mean, if you're normally charging $1,200 for a final clean, I mean, I don't see how you could get much over maybe 400 for the rough. Because that'd put you at 1,600 right there, and we haven't even talked about what actually needs to be done on the ceiling.
Exactly. Didn't have any much details about their cleaning requirements on the rough clean. But yeah, on the final clean, that's easy. Yeah, we all know what to do about that.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing with the rough is if you're going to come in for the three things, you're going to be cleaning it up at some point. So the biggest question is all right, do you send 2 people or do you send 4 people? And then what do you need to make? If you're sending out 4 people, what do you need to make for that day? Or if you're going to put them on another job afterwards, what do you need to make for that half a day? All right. So that would be where you'd have to tweak those numbers. I think if you're much over 400, because that's a third of your job, you're going to start to probably not be as competitive. Now that I may be completely off on that, given this is a luxury retail, they may be different on that. But I think for the most part, you need to probably stay within that parameter. And then I see Javier on here. Javier, you have anything you add? I know you do quite a bit of construction cleanup too on that, as far as most specifically with your rough cleaning there in phase one.
I honestly, I came in a little late, so I didn't get all the information. But when it comes to rough cleaning, I try to do a production rate of just about 900 square foot an hour. So,
I got you. Okay.
but I also don't know how much, if it's going to be a lot, you know. So, I mean, I would need to see personally.
So you don't particularly do it as a percentage of what the bid is. You just do it on a flat, whatever, around 500 square feet per hour production rate for that.
Yeah, and somewhere like if it's a lot, it's probably like 700, and if it's not too much, somewhere around 900.
I got you. Okay. I definitely appreciate the additional feedback on that one for sure. So Ryan, he's saying that, I mean, you guys could almost just do a flat production rate then, but what's going to happen with that is it's going to drive that cost even lower. So it may not be the route that you'd want to go based off of how many employees you're going to be bringing in there. But that being said, you're looking at 2 to 3 hours using a 500 square foot production rate for rough cleaning. You're only looking at 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we were looking at 2 cleaners, 2 to 3 hours for the rough clean, and 2 to 3 hours for the final clean for 2 cleaners as well.
Right. The thing is that this is like high-end luxury, so everything has to be polished, shiny, exterior, facade cleaning, and the whole 9 yards. So it
Yeah,
really goes
windows.
repetitive cleaning. You have to do the same thing like 4 to 5 times.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Are you guys building in enough for products? I mean, if you're polishing stuff, you're polishing brass or silver or stainless. Are you guys building in enough for that specialty cleaner to do those things with?
Well, the cleaner's just what, like $15 a bottle, and yeah, I believe we do. Um, I guess we would kind of break it down to payroll, overhead, and then profit. But sometimes we do get stuck on like the different phases and how much work is entailed because no one knows, not even the company knows. Sometimes they have the project that's going to finish on so and so date. So the second phase gets stuck, or that there's more or there's less. So it's really tricky.
And that's always the tough thing is when they're running behind, because the last thing you want to do is you're like, all right, you said the final clean is today, and you show up and they're still not done, and they say, yeah, do your final clean, and then you do your final clean, and then they call you back 2 days from now and like, oh man, this looks like crap. You're gonna have to do it again.
Oh, I love when that happens. I just need the change order.
Uh, that works. That works until the company is like, no, we're already over budget. We ain't doing anything. It's like, well, then that's an interesting discussion, to say the least.
Yeah.
So Fernando, I mean, I think I would just lay out when you guys bid. It's like this: what we're doing for the rough cleans. We're just picking. We're going through. We're picking up big debris. We're removing that from it. The final clean, we're going to get any items that were missed in the rough clean, and we're going to put this in however you guys put it in your proposal. We're going to put this in a presentation state. We're gonna do this to turn over to the owner. However you guys word that, or you can say, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do anything missed on the rough clean when we do the final clean. I think if you get something worded like that, it should probably be sufficient, because at the end of the day, it's not like, well, I think most contractors aren't going to call you back like, hey, you missed a couple of pieces of broken sheetrock. I mean, they know you're coming back. They know you're already going to do the cleaning. It has to be in a state where you can turn it over to an owner. So, or the contractor can turn it over to an owner. So at that point, it's just like, okay, who cares if that was missed? It'll be gotten.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think where you're at with your luxury, I mean, your luxury pricing sounds like you guys have it right. For the ceiling, the biggest question I had would be is how much do you have to polish? Because that's what's going to cost your time. Going up and down on the lift, you got to think. You drive the lift up, you're only going to get a 6 or 8 foot section. I mean, at most you've got maybe 10 foot by 5 foot is all you can get before you have to lower the thing to the floor and move it forward. Unless you're maybe working with flat mops or something like that, where you can extend them further out and get further away from it. So all of that's going to cause you to slow down. So you're going to have to know what kind of expectation do they have on the ceiling, so that you can actually bid it where it gives you enough time.
Got it.
Nice. All right. Hey, Rod, I see you pop in here. You get your carpet issue somewhat figured out yesterday?
What up, Josh? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Sorry I couldn't
What's
get
up,
back with you.
everybody?
Yeah, it was crazy yesterday. I apologize for not following up with you again.
Oh no, man, I appreciate you having out that meeting for me. I had to tell him something, man. He's just looking like, man, you got to fix this. But I talked with him this morning, and I'll probably go over there tomorrow because it's not completely dry yet.
Right.
So I know I overwent it because everything else is dry, including So I did the main room, but I also did two other area rugs. So everything else is dry except that one.
Oh yeah. Ooh, that would have been over wet then for sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over to the mall, see if I can get that vinegar down. Well, put the vinegar down, and yeah, that'll be it. Now I did see the vinegar I bought. I didn't even notice. It says like 5% acidity. Does that really matter?
I don't think so. I think you'll be all right if you go that route. You should probably be all right with vinegar because that's going to bring that browning down because you got a high pH, which is what's causing your browning. That and the water, the overwetting would also cause it. So that should bring it down quite a bit. Something else I thought of this morning when I woke up is you might want to check out ARA, anti-resoiling. Let's see if I can get this on here. So this is by Pro's Choice, but it's called ARA, anti-resoiling agent, and this is designed to go on it to keep those whipbacks from happening.
Okay.
So it's if I remember, it's been a while since I used this, but if I remember correctly, this was spray on clean the carpet techniques. Spray on after, spray an even coat on the carpet that has the problem. So this is one of those things like when you go clean that carpet or re-clean that carpet and do it like as dry as possible, and then spray this on it and leave it because it helps.
Okay.
It helps it to continue breaking down the soil. Now, depending on what you have on that, you may need to make sure you don't need to extract it again, but most likely if it was just over wet, you can run over it with a bonnet that's mostly dry.
Okay. So I had a dry bonnet on it. No
Yeah,
chemical.
I mean, just like a light mist on the bonnet. I don't even know if I would mist the carpet. I guess you probably could, but just super light. I wouldn't use I would use a pump sprayer. I wouldn't use your Ryobi.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
And then what I'm going to do, if you're all right with it, is I'm going to share the video to, oops, I guess it would help if I push the right button. I'm going to share the video on here so everybody else knows what we're talking about. So,
Oh yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
You just gonna embarrass me, Josh?
Nah, we all make mistakes.
I'm joking.
All right, guys. So Rod did a carpet yesterday, guys, where he had some wick back, and let's see if I can find it here. So he had some color discoloration and some wick back. So this is what we're talking about. If I can find it. All right. All right. Yeah. See how he has, we have a white and blue, white with the blue, and it faded just a little bit. And he's got this browning in through here. So what happens with that is it got over wet. And then the higher pH in the chemical causes it to brown out like that. It attracts soil quicker to it as well. So what we talked about yesterday is he's got to counteract the higher pH. The higher pH level, he's got to bring that down. So in order to do that, he needs to use a lower pH level to get it back to neutral. So what that would look like is something like Well, my mind just went blank. So, well, Rod, you're going to have to help me out here because my mind just went blank on this.
I'm sorry, you faded out a little bit.
Sorry, my mind went blank on the chemical we're talking about using, the vinegar. There we go. Wow, it's been a long day. It's only Tuesday. So vinegar is like would you say yours is a 5 pH?
Yeah, on the bottle it said like 5%.
Gotcha. So it's a 5 pH. So the pH scale for people who aren't completely familiar goes from 1 to 14. So neutral is 7. That's what water should be, is a 7. Neutral cleaner is usually in the range of like high sixes to low or to high sevens, is usually right in that area. So like 6.8 to like a 7.8, 8 at most would be your neutral range. That's what a neutral cleaner is. It's a neutral pH. But in this particular case, because he's on the higher scale, he's closer to 14. It's browning. He's got to go on a lower scale to bring that back down. So he'll use the vinegar with a 5 to try and bring that pH level lower in the carpet so that he can help get that brown out.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's definitely important to know the pH of your products. You know, try to ask whoever you buy it from. Look online. Mine is what 10.5 or 11, something like that.
Right.
But with those floors, any type of floors, you definitely want to know the pH.
And yeah, know your pH, and then there's stuff you have to do to counteract it sometimes, which is fine. I mean, stuff happens with fabric like that all the time. I think part of what you got was just the oversaturation. It's probably more oversaturation than it is even the pH level.
Yeah, because everything else turned out fine. They love everything else.
Right.
Thank God. That's why I know that's why they cut me some slack on this.
Right.
I was, before I figured it out, I'm just like, look, I won't charge you for everything else I did. I know you might have to replace this because I was trying to reach out to the guy who like makes the chemical, Damon.
Right.
Trying to reach out to him, and he's so caught up. But they're like, nah, we'll just pay you for what you did. If you can't figure it out. So, yeah, it's definitely overspray. Everything else is like perfect.
Well, and that happens, man. It happens to everybody on that. So at least it's an easier fix. It's not like you flooded their house or something.
Yep. I wanted to ask you something else because I'm gonna have to run out in a few. Um, I've got another tile and grout thing, and oh damn, I didn't even tell you the good news, man. That or maybe I did. That train station, we're going back this Saturday to do the bathrooms again. Getting paid this time.
Nice.
Yeah, I got me some help lined up already who can take care of all the other stuff while I focus on the walls. They're very good cleaners. Got two of them. So, um, but anyway, we got this other place that we're looking at. It's man, it's like the coolest place I've been so far. It's like something you see on TV, but what do they do? They help doctors or something, or people in the medical field if they're trying to invent some machine or anything like that.
Right.
It's like super confidential. I could barely see myself sign my name and stuff. So
Wow.
one of these buildings, something you definitely see on TV. So of course, we're trying to land this one.
Nice.
They already let us know that the cleaning company got out there currently. It's only one person doing all that stuff, which definitely should not be
Wow.
too much for one person. and they reached out to the owner like, "Hey, you need somebody else." They probably not. Well, they said no. They just said no. They're not hiring anyone else for it. So now they're about to lose the contract. Smells like one of those franchises, but I'm not sure. Anyway, she wants us to do the bathrooms right now because they're about to do a lot of reconstruction everywhere except those bathrooms. So they have those little tiny squares,
Right.
and they kept mentioning the steamer. We didn't even mention it. Of course, I've used that in the power flight, but I feel like, well, shoot, the steamer is going to take a long time doing it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, last time I put some stuff down. I forgot what it's called. Pre-treated it, scrubbed it with the power flight, the steamer, but it's still, without the steamer, it would have been forever. Now I just noticed the power flight, when they're on it, like I did something on Sunday. Um, they're gonna get this done like every month or every few months or something. But it was easy to come out. I was just using simple green and the power flight, and that stuff was just coming out. I didn't even have the special brush.
Right.
Anyway, I'm trying to figure out. I can't use simple green here. What's the strongest chemical I could use to get that tire grout right? Because I prefer. The steamer is going to be involved just to make them happy. Um, my plan is really scrubbing it with the power flight and then steaming it like with the mop head just to, you know, say the steamer was involved.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't want to use that steamer to do that tile grout, at least on those little squares. It's going to take forever.
It would take forever too on that style tile.
But man, it comes out so good with no chemical. But I'm
Right.
trying to.
So why can't you use simple green? Is that there's something about what they're making in there that counteracts with that?
Nah, I just don't think it'll work.
I
The
gotcha.
place
Okay.
I went on Sunday was like one. It was like a different style of tile, like ceramic,
Mm-hmm.
and it just I never really seen it come up like that. It just was coming up like easy. I just don't think it's going to do it in this bathroom.
Gotcha.
Could be wrong, but I don't think so.
So the little squares are the old tile from shoot, man, the old stuff like you see in buildings built the early 1900s, right? That's what you're talking about. The little like 1 inch by 1 inch square tiles.
Yep, and it's in one of those another historic building. This
Okay.
building, they just you know.
They go up the wall too. See, it's the tiles.
Now the ones on the wall are big. They're
Uh,
like more modern.
like 4 inch by 4 inch.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 inch by
I'm
4 inch.
talking about. So how dirty are the ones on the floor? Because you're thinking if the simple green's not going to work, then you must be thinking these are pretty stinking dirty.
Yeah, they're dirty for sure. All right, just like Penn Station, just like the train station.
Gotcha. I mean, you say if I'm going to go in and I'm going to build a machine scrubbing of a tile floor like that, I'm going to say, okay, what can I use? I'm going to use some sort of degreaser. So maybe a grease hog, chemis. What does Spartan make? Spartan makes another one that's pretty good on that deal too.
Sorry, Josh, I cut out as soon as I told you about the station.
No problem. No, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to bid on something like that, I'm going to say, okay, what can I use on the floor? I'm going to use maybe a grease hog, chemis. Um,
Now, that's what I used last time.
chemis.
Is there anything stronger than that, or I'm just doing too much trying to use that?
Well, then you go back to the pH thing, right? So chemis is what it's like high 12s or 13s, something like that.
Okay,
So
maybe I just got to switch to dilution.
So you don't want to go too high. Now, if it's really bad soiled, you can also look at using a floor stripper on it. But you got to make sure there's no actual sealer on that you're going to end up peeling.
That's what I think happened when I tried to test my area in that station, because I was using the baseboard stripper to
Right.
get that stuff off the wall. So I tested the area of the tile like in the corner, and it just looks very ashy.
And that's the other thing is even with the chemies would strip up wax. So you got to be careful even with that. The simple green would probably cut a decent amount of it. You could probably even mix it with a little bit of Dawn too to get a better cutting power if it's just dirt and build up. Now, if it's something more than that, is it grease? Is it or is it just many years of use build up?
It's
And
many years of use, no grease.
I got you. So yeah,
Probably
I would do some sort of degreaser. I would probably say chemies or grease hog. Those would probably be my two go-to. And then from that, if that didn't work, then I would go into something else. I don't think that's a problem though.
I wanted to know. I've seen this online too. People using like a power washer, but this was like in the kitchen. And that Ryobi. Do you think that would take longer? If maybe I put the chemies in the Ryobi, or maybe just water.
You talking you're actually going to physically power wash it, or you just wetting the floor with the Ryobi?
Well, I was thinking about power washing it, like if that would work, because I've seen people do it in the kitchen.
So the nice thing about the Ryobi is you're 600 pounds of pressure, that's your max. So that's good because you're not going to blow out your grout lines. So you're probably all right with that. Also, the good thing about that is you're running it out of a bucket, not out of straight from the faucet, which means the likelihood of you flooding the bathroom is pretty slim. That being said, you're still going to have stuff set up where you're not going to flood it. Because even if you say, all right, you're working out of a 5-gallon bucket and you just start going to town with that power washer, you need to have somewhere where you dam it off and you're trapping it to go be vacuumed up. Because otherwise, even 5 gallons of water could flood a decent amount of space if you're not careful.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm thinking, bringing the wet vac along.
Right.
Or even getting it up with the power flight at a certain point. Because I wasn't power washing the floor, of course, but I've used that to just for a little extra.
Right. Now,
I got a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a question about the tiles on the wall. Have you guys ever used those power drills that with the scrub on it?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
See, the wall for me is gonna be easy. But yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually did that at my grandmother's bathroom. So
Yep.
yeah, that works good, actually.
But it wouldn't be a good idea to use it at your site that you're on now.
So I could do it for the wall, but the floor it'll take way too long. But
Okay.
the wall, it'll be perfect.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Because the wall is never as dirty as the floor.
Yeah, I mean the drill attachment would be great for around your commodes and things like that. So I mean it's still could have a good use even on the floor for stuff like that. The biggest thing is look at your chemical dwell time. That's where most of us fail is we don't let the chemicals sit on the floor long enough. And if you're stripping a floor and you don't let your dwell time sit long enough, you just fight the wax over and over. But if you let it sit for the 15 minutes that you're supposed to be, boom, right up. So that's the biggest thing is we get in a hurry and then we slow ourselves down. I would look at whatever you use, look at the dwell time, look at how long it says it should sit on the surface before you start agitating it. And then look too to see what's the best water to mix it with, right? Is it hot water? Is it cold water? Is it lukewarm? I would make sure you've got everything set, right? Because if the chemical says use hot water, it's going to cut better with the additional heat. So use it that way. If it says use cold water, use it that way, and then use all your methods that you do of tact to clean, right? So you've got time, agitation, chemical, temperature. So use all those in the correct combination. It's going to go a lot easier on that. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, chemis is doesn't matter. It's cold or neutral water is probably your best. But I can't remember. It's been so long since I used it. What your dwell time is? I'm going to guess it's at least 5 minutes, if not closer to 15. So you want to lay it out there and let the chemical work into the floor.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So
But
I'm
you'll see it start wicking the dirt up. The dirt will start floating up just as it's sitting there before you even start agitating it. And then at that point, you know, all right, good. Run your scrubber over it. If you're gonna power wash it, I would say have some way to dam off areas so it's not as much. I would have a bunch of towels that I wet and roll up so I can guide my water at least into some specific area that I can just leave my vacuum sitting there running, dip down into, sucking some of the water up. And I would still let it sit. So even if I'm going to power wash it, I would spray, I would mist that entire floor for whatever that duration of your dwell time is before I even started.
got it. Makes sense.
And then at that point, you may even want to mist it when you're done and run over it one more time with the power flight and or with this steamer.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like the plan.
Nice.
I'm gonna just use the chemis.
Yeah, I think the chemis is gonna be a pretty good bet. I mean, that's some good stuff right there.
Yeah. All right, Josh, I gotta go. I gotta repair this thing. Go repair the power flight, man. I let somebody borrow it. So they clean a vet's office. Man, he's not cleaning it off.
Ooh,
Dog hair all in there. I'm like, man,
jeez. It's always the worst, man. You let somebody borrow something and they end up making a bigger mess for you.
And then I don't think this is necessarily his fault. It's not spraying right. It's just like maybe air stuck in there, but I put like 10 or 15 gallons of water through there, and it's still not spraying right. I don't know.
You're like it missed out like a fan, right? It's not giving that.
Nah, that's how it's supposed to go with a fan, but now I don't know what it's doing. It's trying, and I changed the tip and all that stuff. So I don't know.
So you've changed the tips out completely. You've taken them out. If there's a filter in there, you've washed them out. Have you now the brass? Most of them have some sort of brass ends that are the actual tip itself. Have you replaced those?
Yeah, yep. I got a few new ones because I kept losing them, so I just bought a few of them.
So, I mean, the first thing I always did when I was having an issue with my my spray wand like that is I take a paper clip and feed it up in the ends of the sprayers, right? So
that makes sense.
sometimes you get a little clog in there and that messes up the whole thing. So I'd always start there. I'd stick it up there, test my spray. If that wasn't working, take them off. I would soak them. Usually it was water scale or end cap that got in there and lodged up in there, and then it was causing a problem. If that wasn't the case, then I would try and pump water through the hose at that point, right? So I don't have any of my spray attachments on. I pull the trigger, force more water through there to see if it's coming out of the hose like water comes out the full depth of the hose, or if there's an air pocket or something in there. Right. So if you say you have an air pocket in there, that goes all the way back to your pump. Then you've got to prime your pump again and get it full of water.
Got it. Okay, I'm gonna get a little safety pin and see how that works.
Yeah, I think, that's not ideal, but I always work from the source, from the one end to the other end, so you can eliminate all your problems. Start with your paper clip, then work up into your hose. The worst case scenario probably in that is there's an air pocket in the pump, which means it got set over backwards or upside down or some way where some of the water ran out of the pump and it's not feeding through correctly.
Oh, damn, that's probably exactly what happened. Because I lost my van so down in the car, and now leaves sideways.
Yep. So I had
I emptied the water out the tank now.
That's probably it, especially if you turn the machine upside down to dump the water out of the tank, you got an air pocket in your pump.
Damn it. Okay. I gotta get that out of there.
Yeah.
I got it.
That's
I put like 15 gallons in there so far.
Yeah. Well, and
that
that makes sense, man. So it's an easy fix as long as you can get to your pump, man. Take the hose off of it and feed water directly into that pump.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that then.
So it's a little bit of work, but you shouldn't have any problem getting it fixed if that's truly the case. Which it sounds like that's probably what it is you got an air pocket in there.
Yeah, I got a big one. Okay.
Well, and also check too. I had a machine that every once in a while it would act funny, and I finally, after about 3 times, I realized what it was, and I could take it apart and put it back together within a few minutes. But it was a carpet extractor, and one of the ways the hose ran out of the solution pump, it did a loop, and I'd get an air pocket in the top of it sometimes.
Okay.
So, it could be, that's the other thing. You may have, look at all your hose coming from the pump and going to the pump too. You may have the water pocket in one of those lines before it gets to the pump or right after them. Most likely it'd be before the pump, but that may be all it is. So before you take it all the way apart and try and feed water into that pump, make sure that you don't see any air pockets in the line going to it.
All right, man. I appreciate you. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Do that in a few minutes.
All right. Well, good luck with that, man.
All right, y'all take it easy.
All right. You too, buddy.
Peace out.
You working on anything new there, Javier?
Yeah, actually, I had a walkthrough already, and I have a walkthrough in a bit.
Nice.
I got a couple things. What about you?
Not particularly. I'm working out the details of the post-construction bid I put in last week because he emailed me back and was like, "Oh, we need you to add this, this, and this." So they wanted me to add power washing of some garages and walkways, first 2 floors of the buildings, and adding in some extra labor cost in the event that there's polishing and stuff that needs to be done inside of sinks and things like that. So I'm still in the middle of reading through the 250-page document to figure out all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So
when it comes to polishing, is it for the porcelain or chrome or stainless steel or what?
it's for the stainless in the event that it gets scratched. They want us to use like some polish style stuff and elbow grease. So he wants me to buffer in a handful of hours for doing that. And if it goes beyond that, then we'll do a change order and it'll be billed back to whatever contractor messed it up.
How does that how do you fix scratches in stainless steel with the polish? Is it, I mean, is like what's it called? Either spray away or Zep stainless steel polisher, is that good enough?
In some cases, yes. I use Claire's. I think it's better than both of them, but yes, in some ways, yes, it's at that's all you need. Other ones you can use, or I'm assuming you can use. I'm going to research it more. You can use Silvo and a steel wool. I think it's a 000 steel wool, right? So you'll dab on the Silvo, which is basically like Brasso, onto it, and then you'll work it with the grain with the stainless. So you can do that on some style sinks. This particular one, I've got to find what they're using before I'm like, yeah, that's the route I'm going to go, and I'm just going to bid it like that, because the last thing I want is to screw it up even more than it is.
Okay. What you said, Claire's stainless steel cleaner?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I use, man. It's a little bit pricey, but it's well worth it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's
It's
see.
a lot.
Hey, man, once you use it, you're like, well, I am never using anything else.
You know, I actually just started using stainless steel cleaner because I don't know. I didn't know. I thought it was just like a gimmick. And then I started using it.
Right.
Looks so pretty.
For
It's oil based.
I think this one is, yeah. Oh, son of a bitch. Stinking pop-ups. Yeah, this one's oil based. I may have one. Mine may be water based.
Wait a minute. It's a 15. No.
I guess it is oil
Yeah,
based.
it's one for $13.
Yeah,
I think I found. Oh, Jesus.
pricey, but it goes a long way too, though. But I'm telling you what, man, I've used a lot of stainless cleaner in my day. The other ones that you talked about are good. This one is by far the best one I've ever used. Of course, you know,
That's, I mean,
I use I'll use the same rag too, which saves me polish. In the long run, it saves me polish, right?
Okay.
I'll spray it on the rag, wipe it, and then that rag will go into a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to keep that rag going for as long as I can before I have to change it out.
Oh, that is a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Because, I mean, you know, it takes a while to prime, so to speak, your rag. Once that rag's primed, you don't have to use that stuff as nearly as often.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna let my people do that.
Yeah, that's a nice little trick on that one. I used to, when I was doing stuff 6-day-a-week accounts, I would start a rag and I would maybe wash it once a month, sometimes less than that. So I mean, it was good. By the end of it, you didn't even pull out the stainless steel cleaner. You just pulled out the rag and went
right.
fridge, and you were done.
Oh, that's the money saver right there.
Yep.
That's crazy. So I had a walkthrough this morning. But it's already 10 o'clock. Do you have time?
Yeah, I've got a few minutes. I got to cut out here probably like 11:15, or about 15 minutes from now.
Okay. Okay. So I guess I'll do. So the one that I'm about to go to is I haven't checked it out yet, but it's either a kitchen or a restaurant, but it's really small. It's an airport one. It's 840 square feet. I'm thinking of quoting them like $340 because they want us to start tonight a little bit and then come back and finish it tomorrow. You think that's too much? $340-ish,
So you
340 square feet.
detail clean because if it's a restaurant kitchen, man, it's going to be greasy. So you doing a detail clean, you wiping down
It's
equipment.
a post construction clean actually.
Oh, post construction. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I would go much cheaper than that for a couple of reasons. One of which they want you to do 2 trips.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you got to have some sort of minimum price for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking the same thing.
I think you're in Houston. I would say, yeah, your minimum price should be probably at least that, maybe even a little bit higher. Just thinking of like how much time do you have to invest in a job, right? You have to go look and bid it. You have to get your crew together and all the stuff together. You have to show up and do it. I mean, you're invested 2.5 hours before you've even gotten on the job.
Mm.
So then you got to say, okay, yeah, what the time wise, 840 square feet, what you're looking at for 3 hours, 4 hours max. Yeah, maybe a little.
I was looking at 6 hours because I'm also gonna throw in a floor buff, a floor scrub.
Yeah, I got you, which is
Yeah.
easier than all the streaking of the flooring.
Yeah.
So even 6 hours. Yeah, I mean, you're still decent with time on that one. You might even be able to bump that up depending on it, to bump it up even to like 375 and still be okay. I mean, you got to be careful on that because obviously they're looking at the square footage going, well, that's a lot of money on the other
Yeah.
thing. But if you're like, hey, there's a lot of things invested in this. Have you already bid this one or have you already been out there?
No, I'm actually about to go
Gotcha.
in a bit.
I got
But
you.
oh my gosh, I'm actually getting an important phone call. So I could talk to you later though.
Yeah, man, hit me up in Messenger on School or Slack or wherever, and we can talk a little more about it if you want.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, take it easy.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.